What's up, my dudes? Welcome to today's video. It's not necessarily a military Monday, but we are going to talk about the military, and it's Wednesday. So what I want to explain to you guys is how you can become a squad leader or guide throughout boot camp and graduate that way to help yourself become a PFC and possibly even a Lance Corporal or E3 getting out of boot camp. First off, what a squad leader and guide is essentially there's 4 squad leaders and 1 guide, and they pretty much are the leaders within a platoon, and they're not necessarily leaders in boot camp. They are, but they really don't have too much say as to what goes on and how things happen. Essentially, it just helps you out in the end, receive a promotion, so you'll come out as a PFC rather than a private. If you do graduate as a guide, you are in a competition with all the other guides of all the other platoons within your company, so like six guides total to receive Lance Corporal. To be a squad leader or guide, you definitely can't just take the advice that everyone is going to give you about going to boot camp, about laying low, just doing what you're told, stay quiet. Of course, do what you're told and everything, but you have to stand out. You gotta speak your mind, and when I say speak your mind, that doesn't mean like when something's stupid you tell the drill instructor that, because you'll get the heat of that very quickly. But essentially, when I say like stand out, speak out, that's when something's not right and someone's doing something wrong. Don't be afraid to correct them. You can absolutely correct them, and the drill instructors, at least when I went through, they love that, and that's essentially what made you stand out and like, wow, this guy's a leader. He's not afraid to correct someone, and he's doing what's right and he's good at it. So they put you in a position of leadership. So basically what happened for me is less than 2 weeks into boot camp. It was probably less than a week after Black Friday. If you guys have seen any boot camp videos, that's when you meet your drill instructors, and you pretty much just get like tore up from the floor up that first like week. So we were marching somewhere. It was at night, I'm pretty sure, or super early in the morning. I remember it was dark out, and the drill instructor one of the drill instructors didn't like one of the guys, the way he was marching. He didn't like it. So I remember him stopping everyone and him, yelling at the guy and then saying, "Who wants to be first squad leader?" And no one would ever raise their hand. This is not the first time that happened. I had multiple opportunities before this to do this, but you're so confused there. You're not sure what's going on. So at this point, I was like, you know what? Forget it. I'll raise my hand. So I raised my hand. I was the only one to do that. And I remember the drill instructor kind of like praising me, like, "Hell yeah, Farrah, get up here. Let's do this." And so I went up there, and I can march, decent. And so I stayed from that point on until graduation. I stayed a squad leader. I believe I actually was fired one time for like a day, but it was something super stupid. And so from that point on, I stayed a squad leader. And I didn't stay a squad leader just from me doing that one time, but it was also throughout, because I was a little bit older. If you guys did see my video, I went to boot camp at 22. I'm 24 now. I was a little older than everyone, a little more mature. I just had a little more, I guess, backbone to me than others had, and so I would correct guys all the time. I wasn't afraid to say something as much as other people were. So I definitely stood out, and I was a little bit more physically fit than some other guys. And I believe so. Besides like standing out, speaking out, your physical fitness definitely does help as well if you are a little bit better, because as a squad leader, what your drill instructors want is they want the other guys to, I wouldn't say aspire to be like you, but that you need to be the example for everyone else. So you definitely do need to be better at running, better pull-ups, all that other stuff, hikes, all that good stuff, because especially during the hikes, now that I remind myself, at least in my platoon, they put the squad leaders in the back, and then they would put the guide in the front. And so us as the squad leaders, when people start to fall out, we pretty much had to try to help motivate them or push them back up to decrease that slinky effect that is just the killer in all hikes. What else? Speak out, stand out, be a little more physically fit than everyone else, and that's Sounds so simple, but that's just starting earlier on. It's funny because when I was a poolee, I wasn't a poolee for very long, a couple months maybe. I know guys that are poolies for years because they not technically like an official poolee, but they go to the poolee functions like since they're like 16 years old or something ridiculous. But I remember I almost instantly became a squad leader as a poolee, and I had no clue what that meant. I had no clue. They're like, yeah, you know, or the guide of the poolee functions, and I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what that meant. It's gonna be super confusing for you, but pretty much. So the main tips when you get there, you know, do what you're told. Obviously, move fast, all that stuff that you're supposed to do, but you know, don't try to hide in the back. Don't try to hide in the shadows. You are gonna probably get IT'd more, which is the interval training they call it. That's when they call you up and start making you do push-ups and everyone's yelling at you, and I definitely did get IT'd a lot more than some other guys because of some people in my squad, but you know, it is what it is. Thinking back to it is ridiculous. And yeah, I actually can't really think of any other things about it, but so before you go in, you know, train hard, become, you know, the best you can be before you go in, and there's no preparing for boot camp. No matter what you do, you'll never be prepared for it unless you've already gone through it before. You know, it's not something that you can prepare as much physically, but mentally you'll never be there. So when you get there, be on top of your game. Don't be afraid to volunteer when they ask and they want a squad leader. You can't really practice marching at home, but before you go to boot camp, you know, your physical fitness, you can learn about leadership, and just you'll already know if you're a natural leader or not. I always knew I was. So that's the squad leader side of things. Now the other side is being a guide. So one of my very good friends that's actually here in Okinawa with me, he was my guide. Great guy, and he was, I think he was 26 years old at the time. And how he became guide is exactly what I did to become a squad leader, but he was just a little bit more. He was a little bit more physically fit. He was a little bit more outspoken than me. And when he was in the room, he naturally like took charge. You know, whenever people are in a room, there's always one person that just is in charge, no matter what. No one has to say it, and that was him. That is probably him to this day. He's like I said, amazing guy. And what I remember is when he went in, he took charge. He would do like extra fire watch hours on his own just to make sure things were clean at night. He would just go like way beyond probably what other guides were doing in their platoons, and that's what kept him there. That he, you know, he was good at marching. He always wanted to practice. He always wanted to be better than the next guy, and that's pretty much what kept him guide. In the end, a squad leader and guide essentially do the same things. The guide just learns different movements because they carry the guide on, or the stick with the flag on it that you guys see. And then they have to be like good at marching. I think our platoon was the only one where he never got fired throughout boot camp. Maybe like for one day, because drill instructors like to do that, and they put you like at the back or something for a minute. But I think he was the only one that never got fired, and like I said, that was because him and I were actually the only ones that stayed from the beginning until graduation. Because both of us were older, so we're a little more mature. We just had a little bit more, I don't really know, a little bit more leadership qualities within us, and we weren't afraid to correct other people. We weren't afraid of the confrontation of drill instructors like a lot of other people were. Now trust me, I wouldn't say afraid at times, but I definitely didn't want that confrontation of drill instructors. But yeah, I think I'm getting a little off topic. So like I said in the beginning, don't be afraid to correct that. The main thing is like correcting your peers when you're there and you see them wrong. That will 100% get you noticed, and they'll most likely put you as a squad leader. And you may get fired like right away if something else they see next. They're like, all right, you suck at marching. Oh, your PT is terrible. So, but at least get your shot up there. If it does stick with you, you definitely can benefit from it, right? You get out, you make more money, all this stuff that comes with it, and then you have a different relationship with your drill instructors. You can get, I remember one day they pulled us into the where the drill instructors like sleep and everything, and they gave us a little protein shake, and that was probably the best thing ever. right? There's no lack of food. Well, there's definitely lack of food sometimes at boot camp, but like when you go to like the chow hall and everything, you can get what you want if you dare, but getting that protein shake at that time, I don't think I'll ever forget that part. Like there's a lot of boot camp that's like super blurry, but that actually overall, stand out, be outspoken, don't be afraid, you know, work on your physical fitness before you go, be the best possible physical shape as you can. Like I said, mentally, you know, they'll get you there. And to be the guide, you essentially just have to be a little bit better than all the squad leaders, and that'll get you to the position of the guide. You know, be outspoken, good at marching, and overall, I wouldn't say the best Marine or the best recruit in the platoon, but overall the best one, if you know what I mean. So I know I just kind of like kept looping around like the same things over and over, but really that's it. That's all it takes to be a squad leader or guide. And I think a lot of people think a lot more into it than that, but that's all it took for myself and my guide. I appreciate you guys for watching. Leave a comment down below of anything. I don't really care what it is. I like comments. Like the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next one.